So holy man, massive episode tonight. We learned so much. Like, we are literally now in the final part of the story with only 6 episodes remaining in season 8. Just 6 episodes to tell the remaining part of this amazing story. So now let's predict what may happen in that season, which may or may not come out next year, and based off of the events of tonight, see where we may end up when we hit that season 8 finale. But first, of course, remember that this will contain spoilers for the Game of Thrones series, not really the books since we're long past them. At this rate, it seems like season 8 will be out before George even gets his next book out, which is sort of a smart move when you think about it. George recently said that dozens of characters that are now dead in the television series are still alive in his next 2 books. So releasing his books during this high that the TV series is on right now may confuse a ton of people, and it would just cause a lot of people ripping one or the other apart. I think it's best to just wait until one is over, and then we jump back on the book bandwagon for the first time since 2011 and just see how the original story was meant to end. Also, on September 1st, I will be announcing the winner of the Game of Thrones bundle. It's $150 in value. To qualify for a chance to win this, you just gotta be a subscriber, like, comment, and share this video. But with all of that said and done, let's talk Game of Thrones Season 8. So we already knew that it's going to be 6 episodes. We've known that for a while. We heard that each one of those episodes may even be 2 hours long. I think that's an exaggeration. Like, what I'm thinking is that each episode may get longer and longer as we progress through the season, sort of like this season, but I definitely think that the finale could be 2 hours long, even 2.5 hours, which is pretty ridiculous when you consider that the Lord of the Rings series was told in its entirety in like 10 hours or something like that, whereas with Game of Thrones, from season 1 to 8, it will be like 70 plus. Makes me extremely curious as to what a Lord of the Rings television series would actually be like, where you'd have plenty of time to explore each individual story more in depth. But the movies did an amazing job with that, like, you have to admit. But finally, the White Walkers are across the wall. This is just so exciting, like really fucking exciting. I'm not even sure what it's going to mean going forward. Well, I'm pretty sure what it means, but I'm still just too overexcited from that ending scene. Having the Night King on Viserion burn down the wall with blue fire yet, that was amazing. What's crazy is that we now know that Bran's seen that for sure. He was warging just before, so we know that he's seen that. Since Jon and Daenerys are going to Winterfell, I think Bran's likely going to tell them about that within the first episode, I think. Also mention to Daenerys about her dragon. That's going to cause Daenerys to break down. I know it. It's going to be so hard for her to fight against her own baby. Hopefully she realizes that it's already dead. We've seen that with that woman in Hardhome. She couldn't fight those children because it was her weakness. Dany is a lot stronger, I think, but it still may be an issue. It's going to be tough for her. And that's one thing I noticed. That dragon is insanely fast, which makes total sense. Whites are faster than normal humans. It only makes sense that a white dragon would be faster than a normal one. Jon also has to find out about his parentage. Like, that's a huge one. He has got to find out about his parentage finally, and I'm hoping we see that in the first episode. I would hate for that to be pushed off until like the finale or somewhere down the line, but I guess that depends. Like, that's a good question for you guys, actually. Would you want Jon fighting the war knowing that he's Jon Snow or Aegon Targaryen? First of all, that's an insane name, being named after Aegon the Conqueror. There were a few Aegons in the timeline, I know that, so Jon wouldn't be Aegon II. If my memory serves me correct, I think he would be Aegon VI. But finally, we got to see Rhaegar too. It was pretty emotional, actually, seeing Rhaegar and Lyanna together. They were just so happy. It was really cool to see Jon's parents actually happy together, and that Jon was a product of that love. I just can't believe Ned knew this all along. Like, Ned knew his real name. He knew that he was Aegon Targaryen legally, and that he was the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. That's a massive secret to hold for like decades. That's definitely going to play a massive role in season 8. And it has to. It's the last season. It literally has to. If not there, then when? But I think a good question to address is, will the White Walkers get to Winterfell first, or Jon and Daenerys? If they're forced to retreat and leave their home like Winterfell, then there may not be any time for Jon to find out. They may be forced to leave. I'm so certain that they weren't expecting the Night King to get across that wall, which is just crazy. Like, we are literally in the Great War now. The Battle for the Dawn Part 2 is beginning. If only Ned Stark were there, I just feel like out of all people, he should be there because he was warning people, not exactly about the Whites, but he knew winter brought a lot of bad to Westeros. But now let's talk about Cersei and all of that. Of course she was going to betray Jon and Daenerys, that just made a lot of sense. It seems like we're going to have like a three-way war going on next season. When Euron arrives with the Golden Company's army, like that's going to be really huge. Do they aid Jon and Daenerys or do they aid Cersei? Obviously now it's going to be Cersei, but like once the threat is there, they're there, you know? There's really nothing to go back from. They can keep killing the living, but the living will just keep coming back. It's as simple as that. If they choose to wait the war out, like Jaime said, if the dead win, they're just going to come back and fight Cersei, and they'll have a bigger army from those they just killed. Cersei's plan is beyond moronic. This is why I think the Night King will completely wipe out most of Jon's army, and the Golden Company's army will actually, in the end, aid him, because they just have to. I definitely think the fight will be brought to King's Landing eventually. We just seen that winter is finally there. They didn't show that for nothing. Daenerys' vision way back in season 2 in the House of Undying seems to be coming true. It almost seems like everyone will be forced to leave Westeros, but will it be that extreme? That's where we have to start talking about the Night King, and what does he want? Like seriously, what does he want? We don't know his motives behind any of this, besides maybe wanting revenge, but that seems unlikely. Season 8 will definitely explore that. We need more behind what he wants. There's no way he wants to sit on that throne. Like the throne of what? He would control everyone. Everyone would be dead. We know for a fact that this ending will be bittersweet. Like George R. R. Martin has said it will be. Very similar to how Lord of the Rings ended, like it'll be bittersweet like that. So we know, at least I think we know, that in the end things should be peaceful. It's going to be a tough season of deaths and etc. It's going to be hard, but it's definitely going to be beautiful once winter is gone. But that is generally what I expect from season 8. There's a lot of prophecy stuff that's going to come true. I definitely believe that. Melisandre will probably come back. She has to. She sort of weirdly left like a long time ago. She promised to come back because she said she must die here, so I think we can expect that. But it's crazy because since this video is a season 8 predictions video, we can actually talk about who makes it out of the series alive. Does Cersei live? Will her Valonqar prophecy come true? What happens to her baby? Does the baby suffer? Does she deliver the baby and then die? Maybe in the future, that baby is the future of House Lannister, and in the end, will define what it means to be a Lannister. That would be so poetic. But like I said, there's just so much to talk about. I will be posting videos separately on certain things that I want to talk about throughout the week. I won't be able to cover it all in this video, so just make sure you're subscribed to get all that. But I'm going to leave it here. Now that Game of Thrones is over, like I said, expect a lot of Season 8 videos, a lot of theory videos on that. Don't worry, I won't stop with the videos with Game of Thrones. I'll still have weekly videos coming out. So if you're interested in all that, and you actually are new to the channel, I do invite you to subscribe. But what did you guys think about tonight's episode? What did you guys think about Season 7 overall? Make sure to go check out my review of tonight's episode, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.